It's 6 a.m. in El Saf, and we've returned to one of the many Egyptian brick kilns as truckloads of young men arrive at the desert site to begin their long day of hard toil, hauling freshly made bricks under the scorching heat of the Egyptian sun. Many of the men, and boys as young as 10, have been on site from 4 a.m., joining droves of donkeys who never leave this place, destined to pull cartloads of bricks every single day. It's my third visit in just over 2 years, and my previous experiences were painfully eye-opening. Donkeys beaten relentlessly, creating open wounds and unhealing lacerations. And donkeys riddled with sores and lameness, amidst a culture that had little to no obvious care for their welfare. So, unsurprisingly, my expectation is for more of the same. But as safe haven for donkeys and their local vet teams begin their work, assessing and tending to the donkeys, I notice something has changed. I think this is the healthiest looking donkey I've seen in a kiln.
Yeah, it's the work they've done is tremendous. And, it's the work of the team, but it's also the cooperation of the kiln owners and the kiln staff. Because, they want the same. They don't want injured, unfit animals.
Yes.
So, working together, they've been able to improve the conditions in a very short space of time.
Amazing, 3 years.
It is.
Yeah, fantastic.
But even less, and I think the standards have become a lot higher than they were initially. So, we have got this RAG scoring system, but, what constitutes green is completely different from what constituted green 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So the standard is far, far higher now.
Wonderful.
This kiln we have started to work with like a 1.5 years.
Yeah.
He was red. Red means like he's a worse welfare. Many donkey have a very, very big wound, the ramp wound, the harness wound, many things. In the same time, also we started to work with the brick kilns owner to improve some physical environmental inside the brick kiln. For example, he increase amount of the food, and also the improvement is a harness, and also we give him some education for the handler to just stop the beating. They are still beating, but also there was idea from the brick kilns owner to substitute the kind of the stick, just like a waving or something like
this.
But
not actually hitting the donkey.
Yeah.
So why do you categorize this kiln as an amber and not a green?
It's not a green because it still have some wound here. 2 or 3 donkeys still have a small wound. In the same time, we have a 2 donkey with a musculoskeletal issue like chronic tendonitis. It's just like this. But when we have all the donkey have no wound and no lameness, good body condition, and the working condition is good, we will start to consider this kiln like a green.
Fantastic. It's remarkable. Just 2 years after my first visit, when I witnessed the exhausted, beaten, and malnourished donkey close to death, this is a very different picture. Has a duty of animal welfare really filtered through to a place I once assumed incompatible with compassion? Do you feel that within all of that work, that the attitude of the workers and the kiln owners have begun to understand more powerful compassion?
I'm not sure. Obviously we hope that that's the case.
Yeah.
But
why are you not sure?
Well, because in an environment like this, it's about economics.
Okay.
It's not about compassion to animals, I'm afraid.
Okay.
It's about donkeys working to help the owner create a profit. And the profit margins are very, very low. So, they see the benefit in having fit, healthy donkeys.
Yes.
So I think, the economic drivers are the most important.
Okay.
But, we would hope.
Yes.
That certainly, I mean, as in terms of the team, training the children, training the workers, obviously we hope that learning and, learning about compassion is rubbing off on them.
Because what I have seen also in the last couple of hours, I've seen less beating of the donkeys.
Yeah.
And the times that I've seen these children who drive the donkeys, they tend to do it through boredom rather than malice.
Yeah.
And I suppose being a neurotic optimist as I am, I attach that to the fact that they may feel a greater compassion. But then maybe that's an addition that will come much later. The fact is, the donkeys are being treated much better.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, they are. And, there is less beating because, what we have seen, and I can see an old scar wound on that
Yeah.
donkey over there.
Yeah.
That's a beating wound. That's not a harness wound.
Yeah. Last year and the year before, every kiln we went
Yeah.
to, you
Yeah.
saw open wounds.
Horrible, nasty, open wounds. And
yeah.
now,
And
there's
I
none
mean,
whatsoever.
that's a healing wound there.
Yeah.
I mean, these are high standards here. They may be low standards for my interpretation of compassion,
Yeah.
but they're very high standards in this environment, I
Yeah,
think.
absolutely. And that donkey, that white donkey there is in such good condition. I mean, look
Terrific,
at that.
yeah, terrific. And they all look strong and well fed, don't
Yeah. And they are more relaxed. They're engaging.
Yes.
I wouldn't say they're happy, but they're a lot more engaged than they have been.
Yeah.
Previously we've come and we've seen really depressed donkeys.
Absolutely.
And this goes to the research that's been done recently, which suggests that donkeys suffer from complex post-traumatic stress
Yes.
disorder. And
Well, I'm sure they do.
and you can see that. You can see the difference.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
these
Absolutely.
donkeys, which are far more engaged than the ones that
100%.
will not interact with you at all.
I mean, ultimately, we would like to see donkeys not used as beasts of burden at all.
Absolutely.
But in the interim,
All we can do is improve the welfare
Improve-
and
absolutely.
ensure that they're not suffering unnecessarily.
yeah.
So we have found that there is a huge improvement in the attitude and the knowledge of the people toward the donkey. For example, if you will compare the situation between the 2023 and now, so much a huge improvement.
Absolutely.
Now we have about 55% of the kilns have a green.
That's
Yeah,
terrific.
that's 15% of the yellow, and the rest of them is red. Even the definition of the red now is a completely different from the red before. Before, even if we look for the brick kilns that are red now, it's categorized like a yellow before. That is because also the definition of the red is a changed every year. It's just like increasing the standard of the welfare. Yeah.
So, the standards are improving as the criteria for attaining green status become stricter as more kilns attain increased levels of care. But in this specific kiln, something significant is taking place, a first step towards full automation. Here, they are in the midst of a pilot scheme to replace one of their donkeys with a tractor, something improbable just a few years ago. Carrying trailer loads of bricks into the kilns, this old but functional machine removes the extreme physical burden placed on donkeys. Is this the first kiln that is experimenting with tractors?
This is the fourth.
The fourth?
Yes, we've tried it in 3 kilns already, which weren't. I mean, the third one was fairly successful, but they didn't want to carry on the trial.
Yeah.
So we've now identified this kiln to do some work as well. And I mean, what I've seen today is the kiln owner himself coming up with solutions.
Very enthusiastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, now, sorry to interrupt you, Andrew, but
No.
Does that come from compassion or practicality as far as he's concerned?
Sadly, it's all about economics.
Yeah.
It's all about how many bricks they can produce and how much profit they can make.
Yeah.
And if the tractor, for instance, is slower than the donkey, then it will not be entertained.
Okay.
And this is why we've got to find the right solutions
Yeah.
or the right process to deliver the bricks. But the fact that the kiln owner is talking to us about potential solutions to the problems, it's really good.
Brilliant.
They're thinking about it.
As Andy mentioned, this is the fourth kiln to trial mechanization, and thus far, the kiln owner seems more committed to the venture than anyone before him. With the help of Eslam Yassin, founder of the El Giza Foundation, I'm keen to hear his thoughts. Tell me what difference he has noticed by using a tractor as opposed to a donkey for the brick kilns. He tells me that the tractor can do the work of 2 donkeys, and while the economics remain largely the same, the ability to rest his donkeys longer means he's able to invest more in their long-term welfare. The kiln owner is not only using the tractor as a one-dimensional experiment, but constantly assessing any issues or shortcomings that occur while independently researching ways to make things better. The ramifications of his attitude cannot be overstated, as this level of engagement is traditionally rare and hard-won.
This is the start of, hopefully, the mechanisation of brick kilns. And they've been going through that process. You know, there are many functions within the kiln that have now been mechanised.
Yeah.
You know, before, all of the movement of the green bricks, the freshly made bricks, you know, that was done by donkeys, but now it's mechanised. You know, so the mechanisation process is ongoing, and this is and this is the start of hopefully the next stage.
Following the tractor into the kiln, I'm keen to see how it replaces the donkey in such a typically small and relatively confined space. I'd seen during previous visits how agile and dexterous the donkey is in such a constricted area, so was surprised to see the tractor able to deliver the load of bricks, undertake a 180-degree maneuver, connect to an empty trolley, and leave the kiln. But as the kiln fills up and the space gets tighter, a major issue emerges. But just having watched a delivery of bricks into the kiln, the major problem is what happens with the tractor inside the kiln, yeah? Do you want to...
Absolutely, and that's about the turning area. The kilns, the way the kilns are designed, the doors are very small, and the space within the kiln is also very tight, and that's obviously for efficiency, for heat efficiency. As the kiln fills up, it becomes tighter and tighter.
Of course, and they will not get in at all with the tractor.
They will not get in at all. So they'll have to deliver them at the entrance, and then they'll have to push the trailer in, or use a donkey to take it in. And because the donkey, of course, is very versatile. Yeah. Once it's delivered the bricks, it can turn around in any space and come back out again. And this is the this is the challenge that we've got, to sort of find the best way of delivering the bricks mechanically.
Once again, the reliability and the physical abilities of the donkey reveal why kiln owners have traditionally been so reluctant to change this most basic of systems. The plain and simple truth is that donkeys work. They're predictable and, due to their stoic and intelligent nature, work without fuss, serious problems only making themselves apparent when the donkey physically drops down from exhaustion. For a kiln owner making little profit, the appetite to change a predictable donkey in the face of uncertain mechanized innovation is very small and a risk to his profit. But, as Eslem explains, other significant barriers to change are also very apparent.
So almost time, the people, they thinking what are the economic results, and the second side, social challenge. That's mean this is culture. Such as in brick kilns now, all the people, they working from 25, 30 years ago, the same intervention, the same do the everyday. If you would like to change this, it's not easy. So, and you have in the brick kilns area especially, it's low education and low economic. So that's mean we need time, and we will trying different interventions. From time to time, we think what is the interventions, it's okay. Maybe can we change from time to time. And it must, we working all the different people, that such as owners, workers, vet in this area, in different people, because I think if we can push in different sectors the people, maybe I think we can achieve.
Reliability, predictability, economics, and culture, all overwhelming reasons why brick kiln owners have been and continue to be so resistant to change. Which is why this kiln owner, who's chosen to really embrace a tractor trial, investing so heavily in its outcomes, is so unique.
You can see here that is the brick kilns owner. He is so much interesting to see how the load of the cart, and asking the children, please don't beat the donkey or something. He is still interesting and thinking about their donkey. And if you asked him, he would like and so much happy with idea of using the alternative instead of the donkey.
Wonderful.
Because he doesn't like to see their donkey suffering.
And now, Shaban, has this all come as a result of the work you've been doing?
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
You brought all of this to him.
Yeah.
And he took it.
Yes.
And agreed that it's the way for the future.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Thank you
Wonderful.
so much. Yeah.
Wonderful.
And not only is the kiln owner investing for himself, but for the future of all kiln owners.
Okay. If the tractor, if this initiative success,
Yeah.
maybe the rest of the owners can see the first. If see the tractor, it's more than or better than the donkeys. Yes, he now 100% they can introduce the donkeys by tractor. Yeah.
Despite limitations with the maneuverability in the kilns, the owner has embraced an interim solution that bridges the gap between full automation and the use of donkeys. Prior to the arrival of Safe Haven for donkeys and their teams, a typical reaction to any problem from mechanization would be to reject it as impractical and return to using donkeys as the one and only option for moving bricks. It's not broken, so why fix it? But this owner has persisted and developed a hybrid system, removing the donkey from the process for as long as possible and utilizing him only when necessary. It's a basic solution. When the kiln gets too full and space becomes limited, use the tractor to pull the bricks to the mouth of the kiln. Transfer the trailer to the donkey for the movement into the furnace to take advantage of his maneuverability. Then reattach the tractor as soon as the donkey has exited. It's still great stress on the donkey, and one cannot underestimate the pressure being placed throughout the feet, legs, and body, even over this very short distance. So even if mechanization is 80% of the solution, animal welfare must remain as crucial and critical as ever. No matter how big or small the donkey's involvement in the process, compassion must continue to evolve, develop, and grow. Whenever I talk to you about care and compassion, I say, what drives it? And you say ultimately it's economics over compassion. And is that something
Yeah, I mean it's really important to understand the fact that the industry is it doesn't produce huge profits. It's very labor intensive, and therefore there are the actual cost of running a kiln is very, very high, and the profits are fairly low. So maintaining that production level is absolutely key. So that is obviously the primary concern of the kiln owners.
Yeah.
But what we've seen with the work is that we are bringing in some level of compassion, some level of understanding that donkeys are sentient beings and they need to be cared for.
Indeed.
And that's the wonderful achievement of our team over the last 3 years, bringing in that, and that's through education. I'm just as astounded as you are at the progress that's been made in such short space of time. I never imagined it would be this quick. I thought we'd be in for many, many more years before we saw the results that we're seeing now.
Yeah.
And that's because of the professionalism of the team, their ability to create very strong relationships with the kiln owners and the kiln workers. And as a result of that, they've achieved things that I am blown away by it. It's just incredible to see it. And that's me, who's worked in animal welfare for 40 years.
This is an impossible question, really, but I'll ask it anyway. Do you think that we would get to a point where automation would replace donkeys?
Yes, I think we will. I think it's a long-term journey. Mm-hmm. We've seen projects in other countries, and for instance, there's one charity that mechanized kilns in India, and since 2016 they've managed to convert 35 out of 200.
Wow!
So that's good. That's good, but it's taken a very long time to achieve that. I think we've talked about tradition, and there's a huge amount of tradition within the kilns at the moment. And actually changing that culture is the most difficult thing.
Yeah.
What I saw yesterday, though, was that we've got a kiln owner who wants to engage in the work, who's really positive, and he's thinking outside of the box. He's thinking about the problems and the solutions himself. That is the only way we can bring about change. We can't impose it. It must be something that develops within the kiln community.
100%.
And that's what I saw yesterday. So, yeah, okay, it may be a long-term project, but I'm really inspired by the, the attitude and the sort of the ability within the kilns to, or not the ability, but the willingness for them to engage in the project.
engage and adapt. Something that's always shocked me about these kilns is that they're brutal places for everyone involved. The young children loading cartloads of bricks from 4 a.m. every morning. The teenagers lifting thousands of kilos of bricks from the kiln to the truck for 10 hours a day. And of course, the donkeys. But in the 120 kilns visited by Safe Haven for Donkeys and their remarkable veterinary ground teams, care of the donkeys has improved immeasurably. And the pilot to introduce mechanization does seem to be working, albeit imperfectly at this early stage. So, what does the future look like in terms of removing the donkey entirely? And if this pilot can prove itself a success, what are the next steps?
What we're trying to do is trying to create a pilot to show that automation works, and how it will work effectively is through economics, as again has been mentioned. It will not work if it means that production time or production is going to be reduced. Production has got to be maintained if we can increase it even better, because then we've got something to show other kiln owners that says, yeah, okay, it's worth moving from donkeys to tractors. That's going to be the big challenge for us. So this is the first step in a long journey. We've got the first pilot up and running. It's told us many things about the issues around mechanization and what we need to do to change those.
What would you say is, if you could categorize it, is the first big issue?
That the donkey is such a fantastic worker. It's intelligent, it knows exactly what it needs to do, and often it will do it on its own.
Yeah.
It can maneuver very tight spaces, and in the kiln, especially when the kiln is beginning to fill up, it is a very tight space, and there's no way a tractor can turn around in that area. So we've got a very versatile animal.
Yeah.
That's enabling this, production levels to be very high, and that's going to be the big challenge: finding something to replace the donkey.
Yeah.
And the tractor, like I said, is the first part of that process.
And of course, to completely remove the donkey, mechanization will need to evolve considerably to ensure that the final 20% of the process that still relies so heavily on these beasts of burden is replaced completely.
We need a specific machine to be able to do what the donkey is
does
doing
so easily,
because
yes.
the donkey is so much smart. He know what he is doing, and he can adapt it himself inside in the kiln.
Does that mean you need a smaller tractor?
Yeah, smaller tractor.
Is that the answer?
Yeah. A smaller tractor, and it to be like a reduce to be able to make a maneuver inside inside the kiln.
Yeah.
But also we need the small machine or special design. In the same time, we have to be think about the maintenance of this. The maintenance should be available. Everything should be available around this process, because if we found a small machine, but in the same time we don't be able to make a maintenance or something, this will be problem.
Attitudes are changing. Welfare is improving. Mechanization appears for now to be a probable alternative. And the team on the ground, who have improved the lives of hundreds of donkeys, in addition to changing once stubborn hearts and minds, has been exemplary. Witnessing as I do so many global issues on animal welfare, I cannot overstate just how remarkable this process has been in such a relatively short amount of time. Typically, these things take decades, if they change at all. But this work needs resources, financial being the most crucial.
We have calls from many other kilns around Egypt who want us to go in there and do the work, and we at the moment we haven't got the resources.
And they are coming to you with that. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And so we're moving to the Gerza kilns, which is a group of 40 kilns very close to El Sav. They have made approaches to Dr. Shaban. Dr. Shaban will start a program there, hopefully the end of this year, next year. So replicate what we've achieved at El Saf, That doesn't mean to say we're pulling out of El Saf. We're going to continue to monitor it, but we don't need the same level of resource there as we have done.
Yeah.
We have got a team here in Egypt who want to make more changes, not just to the kiln donkeys, but to all working equids in Egypt.
Wonderful.
And they presented me with a budget for their action plan in 2026. Our biggest challenge is whether we can afford all of that work.
Yeah.
We know that work is going to be really important. We know it's going to make a huge difference. But our challenge is whether we can actually afford
Get
that.
the funds.
We can't sit back and accept the fact that we've done the job. We haven't.
Absolutely.
We've got a massive challenge in terms of reaching more animals across Egypt. But I'm so pleased that we've got the team that we've got, because they want to do it. They want to change the welfare of working equids across Egypt.
We just need to give them the tools to do it.
Exactly.
Optimistically, I want to say that we're at the end of the beginning. Animal welfare initiatives can take decades to yield a positive result, and yet Safe Haven for Donkeys and their tremendous teams have created real, meaningful, and sustainable change within just 3 years. The lives of the donkeys have improved significantly. Compassion, albeit in a basic and economically driven form, is becoming a reality as kiln owners begin to understand the need for keeping their donkeys healthy. And with the spectre of mechanization on the horizon, the donkey may one day be removed from the system entirely. There's a huge amount of work to be done, and the scale of the task cannot be underestimated. But as I look on at a tractor taking the load and a donkey free from hoof pain, beatings, and harness wounds, something is evident. At these brick kilns in Egypt, we are finally moving beyond.